Got it?
Doug, whenever you're ready.
6:00, maybe 6:01. We'll call the meeting to order. Start out with a pledge of allegiance, folks. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to welcome you all here and thank you for coming. If you want to look over the agenda, we'll look for a motion to approve it.
Move we approve the agenda.
I second.
Then moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Now we'll take a look at our previous minutes from 9/10/25. Everybody's had a chance to look at it. Whenever you're ready.
You done?
Do we need a motion? Are we there?
Yeah, we'll need them.
I'll move that we accept the meeting, minutes from last meeting.
I second.
Moved and seconded to accept the previous meeting minutes. Any discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. We will now have opening remarks by Laura, our administrator.
I do not have much today. Just a reminder, when you're discussing, the owl does not like multiple conversations, so try to keep it non-overlapping. I'd like to welcome everybody who's come tonight. Doug, you can take comments as you see fit throughout the meeting, otherwise it's on the agenda for near the end. All I have for you for documents this week was the minutes and the updated copy from what you guys worked on last week. If we could just make sure Carol and I got everything in that you had discussed. If you want to change anything, I know there were a couple of things you wanted to add to that section before moving on. And then later I can share, there was a comment I missed last week because I was taking more notes after Carol left. So I was not paying as close attention to the online comments as I usually have been.
Laura, can I have you clarify something again?
Yes.
Cause we ran through this so fast. The things in purple are the new. You said highlighted purple was,
Yep, either highlighted purple was something that I had changed from our own comments after you had left, or something that I had found and might have changed a word on, just to make sure you guys are okay with the meaning. If I had a question about something, I included my initials with the purple.
okay.
So that's more, take a look at it, see if,
And you left things in yellow that we've changed.
the stuff that's in yellow was stuff that I had questions on. So most of the
Okay.
yellow stuff should have another note next to it. And apologies to the audience, I did not print you color copies because
All right.
money.
Okay.
Just real quick, last week, the comment I missed was from Linda. It says there's growing evidence that animals are affected even more severely than humans by the low frequency noise and vibration from industrial wind turbines rearing growing something pigs in close proximity to the wind turbine resulted in lower pH, total something pigments and iron, as well as lower content of C18-3N-3 fatty acids of oil mussels. In the sense, it's crucial to reduce the exposure of animals to noise generated by wind turbines in order to avoid negative effects on meat quality. That's the comment I missed from last week, so
Who submitted that?
Linda Mueller.
Oh, okay.
So, I just wanted to pass that along. I already apologized to her that I missed it, and I told her I would give that to you as if it was a email submitted. So,
Thank you.
Any comment on the changes in fee structure?
no,
None? Good.
not yet. I don't know if anybody has contacted Karen or the supervisors about it. Nothing came up really during the supervisor meeting on Monday regarding that specifically. Other things happened, of course. Nothing relating to the fees. So,
Good.
Doug, did you get anything after?
No, I think they were pretty accepting of it all,
All right.
if I remember correctly.
So do you wanna go through some of these comments that Laura highlighted?
Yeah, maybe we should
Clarify?
start on page 4 or 5, huh, where the highlights start.
Yeah,
Steve, did you wanna mention something you mentioned to me right earlier, or is there?
It was just a couple. I've read through a bunch of other counties today. Just, I don't want to replow some ground here, but I just had, Buchanan County had a really nice explanation of preservation of private property rights. And objectives is they really want to protect agriculture, and they're citing some Iowa code in here, which I think might be good for us to include in our, as we go forward.
It's under citing? Or
What's that?
where would we fit it in at, do you think?
Well, I don't know. They got it right at the start of theirs.
All right,
I mean, so we can put it in before, prior to the. So where did I put it? Hang on a second.
right after the introduction, or?
Say that
Right
was
after
from,
the introduction.
Buchanan County.
oh, Buchanan County, okay.
I think it'd be good if we got copies of that and the Iowa code that it referenced to before the next meeting. Or send it up so we could. Go through that.
I'll look at it.
And ran copies of the code too, so we got,
Oh, you got copies?
yeah,
Not for everybody?
no. I'm not a paper.
Is it Buchanan County?
What's that?
Buchanan County?
Buchanan County, yes.
That's up to Independence in that way, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
Or no, Holman is Fayette.
Is that something I could just email everyone, or do you want me to print off copies?
Yeah, they have some of their solar tanks were really.
Oh, you might have sent this to me last week.
It's in, it's highlighted.
So we'd only need what you're highlighted, we wouldn't need the whole thing, right?
I don't think we have to change anything in it. I mean.
No, that what you wanted us to look at, it's not like the whole, it's just a
Yeah,
section.
just highlight a second, you know,
Just the first 2 pages?
yeah, that one section on property rights, I just wanted to, I thought we'd highlight that. And then the next page was talking about private, solar units and small solar units and how they were not covered by any of this, or how the regulations did not affect any of those.
Okay, can you guys pause anything I'd have to take notes on my copies real quick?
But we haven't done a residential solar, all we've done is a commercial, right?
We need to if we can.
Well, that's what I mean, I thought that was gonna come after this, what?
We have an accessory solar ordinance that is for personal use. We have not gotten to community solar. That would be the next thing after.
That's what I thought,
I'm very
that she had,
Can we include it with this, so we don't have to do anything?
oh, then we don't have to do it again?
With our industrial, what do you mean?
Just write a, right, put some of this language in and then cover the community solar.
I don't know.
Well,
We-
most of the solars that I was looking at or had inside their solar ordinance had a community solar, like it was in there already.
Was already,
It's,
yeah,
yeah,
What's
Yeah.
what you're saying?
yes.
You kind of need to just go back to the commercial and put the residential back as an addendum or whatever.
Yeah,
Too.
exactly, just add it in.
Yep,
And then we don't have to
Right,
write a whole nother.
right,
so this would,
it all covers, so when you look for solar, you've got one thing
Right.
that covers all aspects.
Make it a solar ordinance and have both commercial and residential or
I think
whatever.
it makes a lot of sense.
That wasn't solar, that wasn't in video.
That was, yeah, this is wind.
Someone mentioned to me too, that just today or the
This
past
was,
week,
this was private wind. I get off, I was reading some other stuff today
we
too.
had our land use policy put into the community for the industrial solar. And Laura, we probably need to include that land use policy at the beginning of our.
Yes, you had mentioned that's something you wanted to bring up this week. And then in the back reminded me, we do have a personal use wind in our current ordinance, and it's not in this one that you're adopting, so you may want to look at that to bring over some of that wording and specificity, which would also be in this first part that you guys have already gone through.
Thank you.
Don't you think that makes sense, Laura? To include that under all
There's no,
the wind in one thing? I mean,
oh, the commercial and the private, yes. That's what our current amendment has. It just has this much personal and this much big, so, you guys can be however clear you want on that, and I mean, if,
I don't know how much we need to put in. I don't know.
I didn't print you guys other copies of our existing wind ordinance. I hope you would bring those with you. And she can pull it up online.
This preservation of property rights that you've got highlighted here, that would work right by our land use statement, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Would we put that at the, right after the introduction, or what does anybody think?
Purposes.
So putting the land use in and putting this after it, is that what you're saying?
I'm wondering if we shouldn't put this, as well as our land use statement from the industrial solar, stick it in to our wind ordinance, but I'm trying to figure out where to put it into our WECS.
Well, the land use agreement, obviously, we have it at the, do we have it at the beginning of the other one?
I would think so.
Doug, you have that copy?
Yeah, although,
Think that look good. See that Iowa code.
Would it be under put it under jurisdiction and scope? Because you're talking right from the beginning, Board of Supervisors governing all lands within the unincorporated of Tama County may only be installed on lands encompassed in zone townships within Tama, and then somewhere in there, add the established policy regulating blah, blah, land use. That would be covered under your jurisdiction, wouldn't it?
It
Or
would
wouldn't
make
it?
sense there.
I mean, way before you go to the waiver requirements, blah, blah.
Wait,
Oh, that's another thing. Are we gonna have to change that? Seeing as how Salt Creek Wind is,
It's set to prevent deregulation.
I mean, we don't have anything definitive on it. You might wanna wait till a later draft, revisions, take out or add more. It's a little up in the air right now until we know where to go next week.
No, that's a question for it. That's what it's.
proposal, not a proposal, but a question.
Is it something you want on public record? Is it something you want on public record or do
That's
you want
my
that?
interpretation.
I think we're.
It doesn't make any difference. If. See how I'm gonna phrase this.
with the
Salt Creek Wind 2 was voted down.
The settlement was
The
voted.
settlement was voted down. Okay, do they have to submit a new CUP application to the or the Board of Adjustment?
No, their original application was still submitted and they've already paid for that hearing.
So that's still active.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I need to know. I didn't know where we stood on that. Nobody really.
There's a little
Like I said.
ambiguity in some other details that I'm trying to work out with various other people and hopefully we'll have more to share on Monday.
Yeah, it was,
Well, I found the land use policy. It said 100.3 under purpose and intent, so it's at the beginning in the solar,
an intent.
where it just says this ordinance shall be construed to be consistent with Tama County Land Use Plan adopted March 26, 2025. Where in paragraph 1, it is stated we would discourage use of primary land for anything other than agri production generally. This would be land with a CSR2 of an average of 63
You have a copy of that.
ISU.
Otherwise, I can direct you easily where to find it online,
Yeah.
copy paste.
I probably,
I meant, did you have a digital copy paste?
I'm sure I do.
Go to the
Hang
Tama
on.
County website.
Hang on. I gotta, actually, I hear some things. Okay. Hang on. I gotta cut it myself.
Are we going back to the solar? Is that what we're doing?
They're pulling the land use part out of the solar to put into the wind.
Yeah, and I can cut and paste that.
We have a digital copy under public notice, and you can copy it.
Okay, so go to Tama County.
TamaCounty.iowa.gov,
We need to get
I
that.
think.
County. IA or Iowa?
Iowa.
Yeah,
You could probably bookmark that.
Probably.
And then the quickest place to get there is to click on zoning department.
Okay, hang on, it's thinking.
Are you on the Wi-Fi here?
No,
Hotspot.
okay, go where now?
Go to the zoning department. Department zoning,
Oh, here we go. So, okay, got it?
and then public notice. It's one of the icons,
Yep.
and then scroll a little bit, and it says proposed solar final draft.
Yes, there we go.
So that's the one that we sent to the supervisors for review, that is currently still
Okay.
waiting for return.
So, let me
But at
go.
least you can copy paste that.
It's a PDF.
Oh. Let me email you quick,
Okay.
sorry,
No, it's okay.
you can't copy the PDF.
I can, it may not, you're gonna have to reformat.
Oh, you got one? Yeah, I got a copy of it if you want.
Well,
Digital copy,
I have to be able to cut and paste.
Thank you anyway.
thank you, yes.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe I'll just get some
Otherwise, I
scissors,
just have
that'd
to
be easier. Okay, let me.
Solar draft. Okay, one sec, I gotta hear your 1 second. Not the PDF, right?
Yeah, please, that's what got us in trouble the first round.
Gotcha.
You had to reformat everything.
Okay, I'm pretty sure this is the word.
Okay.
There you have it, but like you said, buried, so
Oh,
on its way.
okay. Yeah, I have a whole tab on my email that says ordinances and it's filled with like everything, every email you've sent and
So sorry.
so far.
So while she's pulling that up, if you guys are looking at our existing amendment, when it says non-commercial CWECS, that would be anything that would be like personal wind, so. Or possibly like what John Deere has up on. Not totally sure on that, that was a little iffy. Which way it went. But yeah, as far as personal wind, I don't know of anyone in the county that has it, here, I've seen some in other counties, but it's good to have that policy still in there in case people are.
you'll probably see more and more. It's like.
Personal wind, is that what you're talking about? I would love to have a windmill and solar.
You wouldn't need it as tall as the ones that they're building.
One thing, I think they've got a misprint on here, though, it's 35.5. On the regulations.
Oh, you can one?
On the, yeah,
Okay, so what,
under.
we were right at the beginning, under purpose and intent, how much of that am I cutting and pasting on the solar one for the land use agreement? How much am I cutting and pasting? Just one and three, okay. And where you want that, we wanted it, it's kind of the same place,
Yeah, right before purpose and intent, I think.
okay.
Probably right after the introduction.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yeah, and we can, I'll just stick it there and then we can call it something else if we need to. Oh, you're gonna have to,
Steve, 335.2 is correct on farm exempt.
This says, the one I've got just said, 35.5 regulations and comprehensive plan. This section focuses on the goals of zoning regulations such as preserving agricultural land, protecting soil, promoting efficient urban development, and reducing traffic congestion.
335.2 is where it says farms exempt and what is considered exempt for farming. So I think that's what they were intending, was to talk about the exemption. They might be combining a little bit.
That could be.
I don't know how you can consider wind structures to be under the farming definitions based on what I've read from definition sections, but maybe eventually that'll happen.
But aren't they considered commercial?
If it's private, it'd be
Oh, the private end of,
commercial, but it's still an industrial structure.
Okay, so let's look at our Tama County ordinance as of 9/15/25, right? The one you handed out tonight.
So the reason I dated it before today's date was so if you're looking at it, you know, it was printed before you had our discussion, so there's no ambiguity on, oh, did you print that after the meeting? So we'll have a later date with today's changes.
On page 4, we'll include that. Right before the purpose of intent, we'll include that land use.
I've got it in there highlighted, and you're gonna have to reformat that, Laura, because it went clear to the right.
No worries, I got you.
It gave itself a number.
We wanna go through these,
I'll remember. the-
page 4, 5, 6, 7, and keep it going slowly to see if the changes we made last week still make sense. A little time on it, not too much, so we get.
Well, so on that very first highlight, so Laura asked, are we issuing construction permits? One other reference later in the ordinance, and so, because we have your issuance of a WECS building permit shall be conditioned on the permit holder's enforceable promise supported by the consideration of the issuance of a WECS construction permit. Is that what we are issuing?
And there may be another instance where we're
Should it be the
citing
next-
permits, so I don't know if you want to clear up what permits we're actually requiring.
should it be the issuance of a cup permit first, before you go to a building permit?
Something to discuss.
I don't know.
No,
I mean, how can you build if you don't have a conditional use permit?
Which is why I raised the question of how we can clear.
Yeah, that's what I mean, they have to
Steve,
get
we
a
need
cup
to-
first before they can get it,
you can't proceed without the cup.
right.
I mean, you gotta have that.
So do you wanna state up front, this ordinance will eventually only have a cup reference and a building permit reference? So if we find siding later, we can decide if it's siding as a building permit,
I think that'll work.
and then we can keep with that the whole point for cup permit and building permit. Then that'll relate to how you wanna do fees later too, just to clarify. If you're having a building permit fee, cup fee, application fee. Application for the cup fee is separate with the away type of stuff, so we have to clarify the fees later, so if we're clarifying our permits now, that might clear things up down the road.
The fees are all laid out later. Okay. Specific dollar amounts. It's $2,000 per hour and then $8,000 overall when you.
I haven't memorized it, I'm sorry.
I was just reading through it again today.
One note that I made later for you to go through is there's talk about waivers, and waivers need to be approved through the BOA. We do not have waiver wording listed in our current main zoning ordinance. So I think you'd have to specify if the waivers have a fee of their own, or if they're the same as a variance fee. You just want to clarify that up. I did highlight that for you guys to review later. However you want to word it is fine, but, something you should include, so it's not, well, what's a waiver cost, or is it a waiver free, or does it need all the public notice? Does it need to have mailings, or just the,
Is a waiver actually different than a variance? Is that what you're saying?
well, the waiver, I believe said it was approving an easement on something, right? It's like the noise, we talked about stuff, you have the noise easement waiver. I don't remember the wording exactly. When you get to it, it'll have another thing, but
Yeah.
as far as, you know, making sure you have your permitting wording consistent and your fee wording consistent. Maybe if we had a summary at the end of whatever, application section you have, just so it's very clear and they don't have to go looking through 8 pages for everything. It's all concise. something to think about down the
Give
road.
an example.
An example would be, I mean, I didn't write it out, but, permits. Cut permit. Application fee is this, building permit application fee, refer to zoning ordinance. Non-refundable application administrative fee is this. Potential waiver fee is this.
I think it'd be great to just lay it out.
Yeah, so I mean, you can have it all spread out with all the reasoning and other details, but I would suggest maybe having a summary at the end of your application section. Where if anyone was to go on, or if I was to go on and just, you know, do a snip, copy, paste, throw it in an email instead of, you need to look at page 89 and 72 and 25.
Paid with all the fee structure.
Or, and then all the actual permitting, you know, so it's not. I mean, we'll clear it up, make sure we only have those references to 2 permits, but, yeah, just so there's no ambiguity about, oh, I missed that on the 3 pages previous or something, so. That's the ways down the road, but I just wanted to throw that out there with the waivers and then the permitting wording, so.
Are we okay with that language now at the top of the,
To change construction to building permit,
yeah.
Carol, did you get that?
Yeah. Okay,
Building.
oops, I just got to change the highlight. So
Yes, sir. Yes,
On the building from Patrick Cornwell, 230th Street.
thank you, Patrick.
I would argue that the term building certificate or building permit doesn't necessarily apply in the legal document for Tama County because it had what they call a zoning certificate under 6 point whatever it is. And nowhere else could I find where the Tama County has adopted a building permit term.
It's under zoning certificate.
And the definition under that 6 point, whatever the number is, a zoning certificate shall be obtained from the administrative officer before starting or proceeding with the erection, construction, moving in, or structural alteration of a building or structure.
We need to clean up the wording of our main ordinance and then carry that wording over into this.
What you guys call it here is one thing. And in your thing, but when it goes to, in my mind, in my opinion, send it off to have it adopted by the supervisors, it should say certificate,
Zoning
zoning
certificate.
certificate.
So the official wording on our application says application for a zoning certificate, which colloquially I call a building permit application. Once the application is approved, then it is worded as zoning certificate that is issued. So yeah, colloquially it's a building permit, but, it's on the website as a building permit / zoning certificate, but yes, the application says application for zoning certificate. The official approval says zoning certificate. If you want to go with that wording instead of building permit, we can do that. So
it isn't anything that says like, it's gonna sound, I don't know how to say this. So it's not like something like you get it one way and then as soon as it's approved, it changes a name. It's just, there's just some confusion on that it's just a name.
well, I think there may be, I mean, we could do a, you know,
I just wondered if that's what, like, when people are applying, they're, let's say they apply for a building permit and once it's approved, they call it a zoning certificate.
I mean, that's how I kind of call it, but
I just didn't know if that was in the
Maybe
ordinance.
we-
that definition says zoning certificate is the same as a building permit. So if people are thinking, I need a building permit, then they can find, oh, all the reference will be zoning certificate. Would that make sense for you if it was worded like that? I mean, sometimes things make sense to
We can
me.
put it somewhere in there, fine, exactly.
As long as it's consistent.
So-
language, yeah.
Yes.
On the application, it says application for zoning certificate, on the approved certificate, it says zoning certificate. I think we should just add a definition that says zoning certificate is the same as a common term building permit.
Okay, so
So what's the difference between a zoning permit and a cut
The conditional use permit,
permit, right?
is what the board reviews and is allowed to add conditions to. Versus a zoning certificate application is strict facts, no, no subjective review, or I can't add conditions like you need to get this to me before I'll approve it, or something like that. It's gotta be, you include everything. If it doesn't fall under a conditional use or non-permitted use in our ordinance, then I'm allowed to approve it. So if the permitted use, everything's filled out and included. They're not violating any setbacks. That is a straight up, they apply for the certificate, I can issue the certificate after review and confirm it. The conditional use is for, times that somebody wants to do something with the land that is not generally permitted. It can be permitted with special review if the board, thinks the facts fall into how the county goes, if there's no major objections by tons and tons of people, if there's a condition they wanna add, such as, you know, you need to finish this by this date, or ask for an extension, or we will grant you upfront an extended building time for something, they could add that kind of condition. There were some other conditions on a previous one where they added requirements for certain fencing that wasn't usually in that zoning district because it was for conditional use of the land. So the cup is for something that's not normally permitted, and it gets reviewed and approved by the board versus a zoning certificate is normally permitted items.
Okay.
That was my
Okay.
long-winded roundabout response.
So we really should just have zoning certificate rather than building permit.
Yes, but add something, because most people think of it as, I need a building permit.
Okay,
So do we,
Can you put a building permit in parentheses behind it?
The first time, maybe, I would just say, go ahead and add a definition, because if you're
I
searching for
did,
it,
I put at the bottom zoning certificate and then we can
Yeah.
fill in to,
could we all,
If you did both, if you put it in the Bs, put building
That's what I'm thinking.
certificate, yeah,
building
And
permit
then,
right before
you know,
building site?
go to zoning permit
Yeah,
or whatever,
building
and
permits.
then,
okay, I can do that too.
yeah, zoning
because if
certificate.
we added the double wording through the whole ordinance, that would add like a full page of
I
that.
know. Then I wondered if you just put it into the definitions.
Building.
Before building site, put building permit,
Yeah,
Building permit. The
zoning certificate.
zoning certificate. Okay, then we'll just have to define the zoning certificate down there. So I'm replacing now. This will serve, okay. I'm putting in that paragraph, issuance of a WECS zoning certificate shall be conditioned on the certificate holder's enforceable promise supported by consideration of the issuance of a WECS zoning certificate, no, WECS, that the zoning certificate holder shall never use or seek to use eminent domain, blah, blah, blah. Does that sound right?
Do you want it to be the zoning certificate, or do you want it to be the cup permit?
that should be cup, shouldn't it?
Which that's redundant, cup.
Yeah.
Well, so this is the issuance of a, so it was originally a building permit, so,
It's originally construction permit.
right, so this would have been after they would have had their cup, right?
Confusing,
Well-
isn't it?
I'm just thinking
I
if
think, yeah.
they would have had their cup,
First.
and then we would have said, okay, you have your cup, now you're going to apply for your zoning certificate. Isn't that what this was about? Cause this is talking about eminent domain, this was our thing on eminent domain,
Mhm.
so is that? No,
But
I'm
if you
confused.
put the cup permit instead of that construction permit, consideration of the issuance of a cup permit, I mean, there's the enforceable promise supported by the cup permit, right? And then go from there.
I think it.
With the zoning
either
permit?
terminate- Either terminology, honestly, because.
But
The cup holder.
they can't build, right? I mean,
Right,
yeah.
But having the cup does not mean you have a building or a zoning certificate.
no, but that's what it says, the issuance of the zoning permit would be based on the issuance of the cup. I mean, you've gotta have the cup first and then go back and get this zoning. So,
The developer does the cup permit generally, and from what I've heard in recent conversations, they usually sell that. Before they wanna get the building permit, so you may wanna have that in their mind earlier. That the developer needs to ensure from the beginning that nobody in the project will be. violating this promise of not doing it in domain. So maybe flip it to. the-
Conditioned on the developer's enforceable promise?
No, it'd be the, whoever's holding the conditional use permit, because if they sell it, the cup moves with the project.
So in other words, it still has to have a cup before you can go to the zoning, no matter who owns it. Whoever owns the cup gets the zoning permit. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, whoever owns the cup would be, who is applying for the zoning.
So that would be the permit. What, instead of permit holders enforceable promise, should be the cup holders enforceable promise?
I'm not sure of what we wanted with this paragraph.
We're working on.
Something, maybe the whole thing.
I don't remember what, like, I'm losing the intent of the paragraph. Cause it was, I know
What
it's not
about
eminent
if you
domain.
rewrote the
Now
whole
we're
thing
trying
and
to
put
define
upon
the-
issuance of a cup permit? Then you have to, somehow or another word it to the effect that a zoning permit has,
Certificate.
Well, we're talking about conditions. We could say issuance of a conditional use permit shall be conditioned on the permit holder's enforceable promise, supported by the consideration of the issuance of a WECS. Supported by the consideration
I think there was nothing after WECS, that was the comma.
yeah,
And then
that's
the
where,
next sentence
of the
was where we
WECS
had the
zoning
building.
certificate. So the first one, instead of WECS building permit, that could be conditional use permit.
Okay,
And then the second one where I highlighted in purple, change that to the issuance of a
WECS
zoning.
zoning certificate.
So then you have both of them in there and they're both covered.
okay, so. Let me get this straightened
So the
out.
first part, you're talking about conditions, which
Okay.
would lead to the cut.
So right now we
What if you-
have,
sorry.
no, that's okay, go ahead, ask your question.
No, I was just gonna say, what if you took out that whole by the consideration issuance, blah, blah, blah? Just went from enforceable promise supported. Let's see, enforceable promise that the permit holder shall never use, seek, or to use eminent domain. Just take out that whole redundant.
And if a lawyer wants to add
Thing
it
in
back in later, they can add it back in later.
Right, cause it was more about eminent domain than it was about
Right.
actually having a permit. It was just, we were trying to figure out when do we
Put it
let
in
them
there.
know?
We just.
I agree, to
Right.
completely take out that.
Just take out that consideration, the
The
issues.
supported by the consideration, yeah, take that.
Okay,
Just
so hang on a minute.
supported,
So, okay, so issuance of a WECS conditional use permit shall be conditioned on the permit holder's enforceable promise.
then jump to that the permit holder shall never use, seek to use eminent
Okay.
domain. Take out that whole thing in
I
there,
think that still reads good without it.
Okay, so hang on a minute.
because otherwise you're just repeating yourself twice,
So
Almost
the
3 times.
3 times.
Okay,
Whatever,
so-
yeah.
issuance of a WECS conditional use permit shall be conditioned on the permit holder's enforceable promise that the permit holder shall never,
Use
okay,
or
hang on,
seek-
I just
yeah,
had to change it,
carry
that's
it with
certificate. So permit. I'm gonna put that in there. Permit holder shall never use or seek to use eminent domain to acquire any real property interest to construct or operate the project.
There you go.
We gotta clear it up.
You can delete my extra.
I'm gonna delete your comment, but I'm gonna leave it yellow.
Sounds good.
Amen.
Did you guys add the land use in already? I think I had a.
I told you that
Oh, the format, okay.
the format,
Phew.
it did what it wanted. Okay,
So on the jurisdiction and scope, right?
yes. So she had highlighted in there lands outside the zoned townships.
I can't remember if I added that or if I thought you needed to change it, but definitely look at that and see if that's something you want to. Because we don't, I think Worth County is not entirely zoned all the way through, so that might be why they have that wording.
Are all our townships zoned?
All our townships are zoned, yeah.
So in other words, we don't need
We
that
don't
in
need
there.
it.
I think we can just take that part of, yeah.
So just take out the blue.
And I think that's why it was in there, because I don't think Worth either previously or even currently is entirely zoned.
Okay, so
you can Take the
then,
blue out.
it says,
Under number one, yes.
in zone districts that provide for such conditional use, which have a land use classification for tax purposes of ag or commercial.
You know, I think we should take that in reference to tax purposes. None of our other zoning ordinances relate to
Okay.
tax purposes. Assessor's office does their own classification. Because we can have ag zoned land through 95% of our our thing, but if you have an acreage where you have no agricultural land, it's considered a, residence for tax purposes if you look on GIS.
Oh, I don't know that.
So I would take out the reference to the tax purposes
Okay.
and try to
so-
reword that sentence.
Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of read from the top so we get an idea of this. This ordinance is adopted by the Tama County Board of Supervisors governing all lands within the unincorporated areas of Tama County, Iowa. Commercial wind energy conversion systems, CWECS, may only be installed in lands encompassed in zoned townships within Tama County, in zone districts that provide for such conditional use. And then we have this, which have a land use classification for tax purposes for ag or commercial. Should we just say which are classified ag or commercial?
Which have a land classification for purposes of agricultural and commercial. Just kind of,
We do have a couple light industrial and heavy industrial zones. You talked last week about the setback from different zones. If you only want them on agriculture and commercial, that would cut out. Which I think they're pretty much like a spot zone.
but is industrial considered commercial?
No,
It's completely different.
Yeah.
Agricultural, commercial, and industrial? How many other,
So do we need a land
I don't know
classification?
if you wanna take it out and go opposite way and just say, you know, it's not allowed in residential district land. Because, I mean, then you're not, I don't know that they.
Well, so
Industrial land.
It
but-
does say the next sentence is this ordinance's provision shall not apply for property to projects occurring within the incorporated cities of Tama County. Would that count? For the residential?
No, cause like Hickory Hollow is
Mhm.
residential, the Union Grove Lake is residential,
Okay.
Buckingham's residential,
That.
what if you just left it in zone districts that provide such conditional use?
we would have to
Period.
specify which districts would allow. I would say, because those districts aren't listed in our main ordinances saying it's allowable for wind. I think our current/old ordinance says it's allowable in any district. So if you just wanna say it's not allowable,
And exclude residential
yeah, you could just say it's allowed in
zones.
every zone district excluding residential districts.
Okay,
That can
so,
work,
Yeah,
with a conditional use permit.
okay, so,
And then we're not dealing with industrial, we're not.
with all this other stuff, yeah. We've carved out the
We don't-
residential
We
area
don't
from there.
cause more issues, I mean, if we just stick with not on a residential zoned area.
okay.
At
So
the time of its application.
it says in zone districts to provide for such conditional use. So then we would just, take out the stuff on ag or commercial and we put in, what did we just say?
Okay.
Not,
I would maybe, instead of saying in zone districts, I would say, where was Dr.
In zone districts that, no,
Excluding
installed
residential.
on lands,
zone townships
installed. on
within the
lands.
county
excluding residential.
residential zones at the time of the application.
Okay, hold that. Let me get,
What if you just put your excluding residential, as you know, where it says installed on lands, excluding zoned residential,
I don't mind the extra wording on that.
and then go back into encompassing zone townships within Tama County that are provide for such conditional use.
Mhm. I think the exclusion should come after Tama County.
okay, so excluding,
Excluding residential zoned areas,
Including,
Excluding, you're saying, right?
excluding, thank you, Doug, excluding residential zones
okay,
At time of application.
at the time of the
Residential.
application.
zones at time of
Conditional use application.
conditional use application.
Cause yeah, if something changes between the cup and you wanna go after cup.
So then it goes on to say this ordinance and provision shall not apply to those properties or projects occurring within incorporated cities in Tama County. We should be good.
Yes,
Okay. I'll just highlight that whole section.
and I'll just check format.
Yeah.
I'm gonna renumber this whole thing,
Yeah,
and then I was thinking about posting it, under public notice after tonight's meeting. I figured it'll get far enough along. Then it'll be something that people would, you've got enough of your own in here. People can review that and be ready.
You
to
got
go.
number one figured out, Carol?
Yes.
I see, clear as mud.
The next one's really easy. There's a word there, temporary.
You gonna leave that word in or take it out?
Which are,
The date of the
Temporary.
kind of temporary moratorium, is that
oh,
something
there,
you wanted in there, Laura? Did you
There's no
think?
date, and I mean, it's technically I think it would be considered
On,
what's the word?
ongoing?
Um,
Present moratorium.
We just leave it at moratorium, and if a woman wants to ask.
Yeah, we just leave it moratorium.
All right.
And then I had added in the resolution number, so that is accurate. You can take out the red wording. I just wanted you to know that I had changed that to be us.
Okay, so just take out the red.
I mean, leave the writing, but just change it to black.
Okay, then temporary is just coming out. We're leaving it as moratorium and just, we'll deal with it later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Do you want me to highlight that I changed that or just, you don't?
Sure.
Okay. At that section.
Agreements needs to be capitalized in that next sentence.
If what?
Oh, agreements.
If we're gonna be capitalized.
I'll show you. It depends on if that is formal.
Well, we don't talk about agreements anywhere else. in the
Okay.
Paragraph yet.
It's small. Done. All right.
On the A. Well, you've inserted Salt Creek too, correct?
Yes.
With the.
Well, hold on, go back to the end of the previous paragraph. It says, I mean, I didn't make notes on everything. I figured you guys would go through it. Also, no modification or alteration to an existing CWECS that alters the size, structure, or capacity of an existing CWECS shall be allowed without full compliance of this ordinance. That is basically throwing in your repowering right there. So I don't know if you want to note that later, like repowering is mentioned in this section. To
that's
reference
just
later,
it, size, there we go, size again. If we're gonna put a limit on size though, right?
but it says any alteration to an existing one that alters the size, structure, or capacity shall be
Capacity is
the megawatt.
is the big word there.
Shall be allowed without full compliance of this ordinance. I think we should make sure that that is spelled out somewhere else. Like I said, I haven't memorized the whole thing, but that's basically a repowering ordinance right there. I don't know if you need to word it as repowering, or we need to add a definition, or if we want a whole section later. We just might want to note that that's.
Did
what
we have a
it's at.
repowering section in there yet?
I don't know,
Operational upgrades, yep, it's already there.
but we might just want to be able to reference back to this page.
It's 3A. Operational upgrades to install CWECS,
Okay,
page 37.
thank you. Sorry, continue.
Okay. So there was that I better highlight this. I did add on definitions, we have building permits, C zoning certificate. And then at the bottom of the definitions would be the last one, it would be, zoning certificate, and then we just have to figure out what we're writing there. Goodness, there's a lot of definitions. Okay,
We'll go through definitions at the end.
yeah. All right. So I've got that highlighted that we've done that. And then we're going down to eminent domain.
Okay, so before definitions though, there's something we should probably reword. Page
Oh.
6, number 3.
6, number 3. No construction activities on CWECS project may begin until a CWECS permit has been issued except meteorological towers is permitted in section 3.
This is another permit that we don't have before. So do we want to change it to a conditional use permit?
Well,
Yeah, I think that would make sense, wouldn't it?
And really, we require cups for meteorological towers as well, so.
So we leave that except out.
What do they consider excuse me, CWECS permit?
That's what I'm saying, we should
We
change.
should paint a cup.
is that your cup?
I think so.
Nope.
So,
Or is that your zoning permit? What is that?
Well, no construction activities can begin on a project until you get a zoning certificate.
Right, but then you, without a, what is a CWECS permit? I mean, what do we
That's why
consider?
we're trying to change it.
Oh, all right, sorry.
I don't know.
Can we
you
say
can change whatever
cup?
You want to, Jody.
Can we say cup and zoning certificate,
Yeah,
Laura?
if you put cup in there.
Yeah, I think-
That would cover it.
Well, except you can't have any construction activities on a cup without a zoning certificate.
So we put both in there. Wouldn't we?
well, is
For
this
zoning.
is this just talking about after the cup, or are they talking about the construction? Like you can't start that without your zoning certificate?
I think it needs some clarity either way.
Yeah.
If we have questions, they'll have questions. This is part of jurisdiction.
No? What if it said, no construction activities on a CWEX project may begin until a cup and
And
zoning
zoning
certificate has been issued,
Okay.
period. that work?
Conditional Use permit?
And then maybe make it a second sentence, meteorological towers require their own permitting as in section 3.
So, okay, so I'm just gonna put a period after issued.
And if we need to come back and clean up that wording, we can do that later.
What did you wanna say, meteorological towers need their own?
So instead of saying except,
Need to be permitted separately?
meteorological towers require their own cups as in whatever section.
Additional use permit as permitted in section 3.1. Yes, I know I spelled. All right, so it says, no construction activities on the CWECS project may begin until a conditional use permit and zoning certificate has been issued. Meteorological towers require their own conditional use permit as permitted in section 3.1.
It doesn't.
Okay,
Then we get into definitions.
so the only one question was, we have question about eminent domain.
There's some wording again on page 6, sorry.
What?
Number 5. I would say if construction on a we could leave it as permitted project, has not begun within whatever months of the issuance date of the use permit.
So not the CWEX permit.
Yeah,
Okay,
you could maybe even change it to something like if a building permit has not been or if an application for a zoning certificate has not been submitted within so much of your conditional use permit approval, the cup will be revoked and go on like that. Would that wording make sense to you guys? Because permitted project could be cut permitted or building permitted. Since we're getting this from some other counties, some of the wording, we should.
They're saying if they don't go forward with it, then their cup is void.
Right.
Was construction on a cup,
I don't know if I'd even say construction on, I would say if a building permit has not, I think we did that with the solar. If a building permit has not been applied for, or zoning certificate has not been applied for within X amount of time, the conditional use permit is
Will be rescinded or whatever.
revoked without further action by the county is how they talk about it here. And I mean, we could specify here or specify somewhere else if you wanna include, longer dates as far as, our zoning certificates have that the wording is 90 days for a significant start or completed within a year. If you wanna change that specific to a WECS ordinance, to be like, you need to have visible construction begin within X number of months after building permit is requested in order to request extensions at the 11th month. If construction is not completed. And then, be specific about how they can, if you're gonna charge for extensions, how they can apply for extensions, how long extensions can be issued for. Because currently our main zoning ordinance is unless an extension has been granted. We don't have any charge for it listed, we don't have any date parameters, we don't have any rules for what's required to get an extension.
Let's just start at the beginning of number 5 and try to piece it out. piece it
Okay.
together.
Before we do that, we just said something about, there's no such thing as, you said there's no such thing as a CWECS permit.
Yeah.
So that says it in 4 too, so. So any material violation of any provision of this ordinance that remains uncured after 30 days, with notice from the county to the permit holder shall be grounds for revocation of the CWECS permit.
Of the cut.
So that should be an additional use permit.
Okay, let's back all the way up to 3. Is that a zoning permit or is that a cut?
I think we already talked about that one.
You know, you put zoning on there, but are we gonna go back and forth or are we gonna,
I think we put cup on number 3.
Yeah,
that was a cup?
yeah, we said conditional use permit and zoning certificates of issues, so they both have to be issued. No construction can be permitted until they're both issued.
What about 4? Is that the same way then?
I think that, my only question on that was it said CWECS permit and there, that isn't a thing.
Yeah, so
Nothing.
violation that remains I don't know what uncured means.
Is it supposed to be uncured or unsecured or?
Is that like not contested?
And it rains for 30 days when.
Let's see what uncured means.
In other words, if they haven't fixed the violation after 30 days written notice?
Oh, I bet that's it.
Yeah,
Uncured means not cured.
Yeah,
No
that,
kidding.
yeah,
I would imagine Jody said that I think that means if you don't fix the violation,
violation is not small, and that remains
means uncured, where's it?
in violation, you provision that remains.
Definition not helpful at all.
Right,
Well, we could say something else other than uncured, so.
Shall be crowned. I guess it rained for.
Unresolved.
Unresolved, unresolved.
yeah, resolved it, could it? Unresolved.
Can you do right click sentence?
What's that?
Probably since I'm not attached to anything right now, I can look. Let me look.
Yeah, unresolved would be a good, instead of uncured.
Well, I didn't know if that meant like not contested, uncontested,
Oh,
because, you know, we've got that 30-day clause where, is it coming
Raw.
off?
Fresh, unpolymerized.
I had to change my search to uncured violation definition.
We're not talking about bacon.
No,
We should have-
I think if we just said unresolved,
But, you know, if you haven't figured it out in 30 days, then,
It's gonna take us that long to figure out the word.
And then,
you
and
know,
then at the end of that sentence, you just put cup instead of CWECS permit.
Yep.
Right?
Any violation that remains.
Unresolved.
Okay.
unresolved after 30 days written notice from the county to the permit holder shall be grounds for revocation of the conditional use permit.
So 5.
We did
Now
5,
five.
right?
Well,
I think you guys talk about this later, unless I'm totally losing my mind, so this might be like a duplicate section that we.
18 months of the date of issue of the cup, is that what we're gonna go with?
yeah, we kind of, I took some things out of 5, but we didn't talk about it.
I mean, if you just wanna put a note and
Oh,
come back
okay.
to this, we can do that too.
Yeah, there's no CWEX permit that's showing up again. I'm just gonna put conditional use permit for now. So right now, it says if construction on a permitted project has not begun within 18 months from the date of issuance of a conditional use permit, the conditional use permit shall be automatically revoked without further action by the county.
So, I mean, you could go either way, you could go, if construction hasn't begun on a zoning certificate within a certain amount of time, but our current zoning certificate doesn't go on.
Oh, that's right, we were trying to figure out if we're talking about zoning or,
So our current one does not go out 18 months, our current one is capped at a year. If you wanna let it longer, cause these construction projects do, I think, tend to last longer, that's fine. But I know development also takes longer too, so if you wanna make it more, if a building permit has not been applied for within X number of months, the conditional use permit is automatically revoked.
Okay, the next question is,
Or you could do both.
on the conditional use permit, are we still gonna go with the That they have to have the model and all that, that's where this sticking point is for this Salt Creek 2. They filed an application without all the information.
I think there's a whole section on requirement submission, so we can think on that later.
Let's
I
finish.
still think it's a disservice to the people that are getting it.
I agree,
And the
but I
people
think,
that aren't getting it to not know how tall your turbine is or how tall the
exactly,
blades are.
I agree, and that's why they rushed to judgment to get it in there before the new board of supervisors came into on the first of the year.
I mean, I can't order a new combine and tell them, well, I'm not sure what I want yet on it. I don't know how big I want it.
Yeah.
How horsepower.
Give me a price, but
Give me a price, but I'm not sure what.
I'm not sure what I want, I'm gonna load it up later.
So when we get to that part, I can tell you what the arguments have been and you can decide how you want to move forward
Okay.
with that section of requirements. This section, like I said, I don't know if it comes up again later or if you just wanna fix it now and we'll come back to it if we run into it later. You
Can we
could,
try to
you
fix-
could have an expiration of the cup, you can have an expiration of the building permit. Or you can have a requirement that says visible construction must begin within X number of months. I know there's.
What
an
if we take
argument-
5 out altogether and put it somewhere else?
18 months seems like a long time.
Yes,
Yeah,
Make it
Um,
12.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, don't you think a year?
they do say development does take longer, and then a lot of stuff happens before the visible construction happens, but I mean,
look at Salt Creek 1.
I could see 18 months being reasonable if it was the time between when they get their cut permit and when they get their building permits in. Cause the thing is, you don't wanna have the building permit issued and then just have extension. I think based on my experience in researching what's going on here in other counties, I do think the year might be a little tight for the development side. Because they don't wanna put a lot into it to rush it after if they're not gonna get the cup. So the cup is the first step really. However, they need to have all the research and everything to even apply for the cup.
Well, you got a lot of engineering to do, I suppose, I guess, soil borings and then all kinds of.
I mean, you guys can recommend whatever you want to recommend. If you think 12 months.
I think that's.
If the project is approved, you're gonna say, yeah, you can go ahead with it.
But then with the wording that if that's building permit for 18 months, I do agree that's way too long.
So all I did right now was change those CWECS to conditional use. So everything in here talks about conditional use. I mean, I just did that. So if a construction on a permitted project has not begun within 18 months from the date of issuance of the conditional use permit, the conditional use permit shall be automatically revoked without further action by the county. In such event, no work on the project may take place unless and until a new conditional use permit is issued, and any portion of the project then completed shall be deemed a discontinued use.
Hey, what's gonna be the stipulation? Okay, once they have a cup, what's the stipulation on getting a zoning permit issued? What do they have to do between the cup and the zoning permit?
Certificate.
It hasn't been completed.
If they're ready to build, they just have to apply for the certificate.
So in other words, you could say you got a cup, within 30 days, you should be able to get your zoning permit.
The thing is, with lead times and all this off-site stuff they apparently have to do, I mean, I wouldn't recommend anybody to get their zoning certificate until they're ready to build. So if they,
No, I'm just saying, that's the quickest it could roll over,
if
but
they have a stockpile of turbines, yes, if they got their cup, they could turn around immediately and get a zoning certificate request.
so we're gonna say they're gonna have a year or 18 months after they get their cup to,
But
Apply
realistically,
for the-
nobody has a stockpile of turbine.
No, I
parts,
know.
so.
So it could take that long to get all that stuff.
It could take the 18 months to
You
get
think
the
about
building
it,
permit
engineers,
requested,
everybody
and
else, you know,
I would say if we include that wording of if construction doesn't begin within 18 months,
everybody else.
that puts it really tight. Because that's saying that basically they need to turn around and request a building permit.
if they don't
within
apply for
6
a
months.
building permit, a zoning permit within 18 months?
I wouldn't be opposed to that wording.
That
So
gives them a
instead of
year
talking
and a
about
half to get
construction.
their, I mean,
To request a building permit, and then that would give them another year to build it after they get their permit, unless they request extensions, which would extend it on. Like I said, though, I think you should consider adding expiration of, or at least contingencies on if you get your building permit, you need to show visible construction activity within X number of months or
they
something.
can be doing a lot of construction.
And I don't know if you want to specify that as just driveways, or if you want to specify that as actual locations. I know in one of the previous instances, someone had said, oh, we're not constructing, it's just the driveways.
That's a construction. How do you get to your site if you don't have a driveway?
So I don't know if you want to clarify that. I always think more clarity is better in some cases unless you want to be purposely ambiguous. We don't have to decide this, that we can think about it, go back to it. Sorry, you give us definitions, I don't have any other.
Well, instead of if construction, what if it's, if application for a zoning permit has not been filed within 18 months? Does that make sense or not?
That's to me, but you guys are the ones to decide that.
I mean, that gives them a year and a half to get their orders in, know when their hard stuff's gonna be coming in. If you don't know within 18 months, I mean, and supposedly all this stuff is being built stateside now, not coming from China, so we don't have to worry about a slow boat or anything, so. I'm just thinking 18 months.
And you gotta start somewhere. I mean, people can always come comment and you guys can get better discussions, but you have to start somewhere, so.
Okay, so dismissing the whole thing, if construction, we're going with, if the zoning certificate
That's
has not been applied for, hang on, if that's, okay. If zoning,
An application for a zoning certificate has not,
if the zoning certificate,
Okay, are we gonna, in that case, they're gonna forfeit all fees?
hang on, the zoning certificate has not been applied
Okay,
for,
my mind's working.
that's
faster than
okay,
your
that's
fingers.
okay, well, it's gotta sound good. Has not been applied for within 18 months from the date of the issuance of the conditional use permit. The conditional use permit shall be automatically revoked without further action by the county.
I found the uncured definition that actually helps us. It says an uncured violation refers to a situation where a party has breached a law or contract and has failed to rectify that breach after being notified of it. This typically allows the other party to pursue legal remedies or terminate the agreement if the violation is not corrected within a specified time frame.
That's really a legal violation.
I mean, that makes sense in that definition, but
You don't put,
I don't know if we want to use that term.
nobody else is gonna understand what it means except legal beagles.
Is that in the Iowa code?
No, that's on, DuckDuckGo AI generated
Yeah.
I think
responses.
that's not really.
It's just the legal meaning of uncured.
Let's see if we can finish this 5 while we're at it. You were reading that,
So
Carol.
I got that part, and then in such an event, no work on the project may take place unless and until a new conditional use permit is issued. And any portion of the project then completed shall be deemed discontinued use.
So in this section, do you want to add the expiration of building permits in this section, or wait and leave that later?
What was your question?
Do you want to add expiration of building permits here, or conditions about starting building, or do you want to add that later?
So this section is called jurisdiction and scope.
Should the cup expire all,
Do we have it later, Laura?
I don't know.
I don't know, put it in there if,
Well,
upon expiration of the cup, all prepaid fees will be forfeited?
I do have to you guys.
okay, so there is a section called notice of intent to construct a CWECS project.
What page is that on?
It starts on 20. There's a notice submission, can review and right to amend, public notice of intent to construct, time limits, and change scope.
We'll talk about it later.
Well, I'm just saying that would, it could fit there. There's also permit application and review section. Right after that,
Yeah.
which talks about general
What does
agency
one spell
application.
out? Beginning.
Work out the details later and come back and clarify the beginning part.
I think we could sit here all night for this. I think we should just kind of table that for a little bit. Laura, it's highlighted yellow, but I'm gonna underline it. And that's my letting me know that we have not finished that.
You wanna just throw a little parentheses,
Yeah,
not decided.
Yeah.
There's just another wording of building permit on page 8 in the definition. And that's redoing what we talked about previously, so I think we
Oh.
can that to the issuance of a,
Zoning
probably copy
certificate.
from the previous page again.
We put
Zoning.
zoning certificate there or instead of building, or what do we put there?
I think you can use, I think last time you copied and pasted, you could probably go back to copy and paste what we did,
Alright,
what we already discussed.
oh,
So I think it's the same wording you used. And on page 5.
okay. Oh,
We could probably leave out the WECS reference because this whole ordinance is just about WECS. That's kind of inferred, implied, whatever. If you wanna leave it for now, we can fix that later.
okay.
you gotta figure it out, Carol, on
No.
page 8.
No. I,
I think you're referring to the top of page 5 under number 4,
Yeah. but I'm just trying to figure out
where to substitute the words.
why.
Copy the whole paragraph into the definition. I think that's what you did last time.
I don't know what I did.
I mean, wording wise, I think that's what you did.
I'm sure. Did we just say we're not calling this a WEX conditional? Are we leaving that in? I missed something. I think there was a comment just a few minutes ago.
Well, I was just saying, I don't think we need to include the WECS part, because the whole ordinance is about WECS, but you can leave
Okay.
it for now and decide.
Well,
later
let me
if you
take
want
that
it.
out. Okay, I'm gonna put this in. So that's just the same thing as at the top. Except that I just lost the word domain.
I'm repeating myself. But we're defining a minute.
Well, we're defining,
Yeah, so we need to have it in there.
okay.
You got it?
Yeah, but why is it putting a 5 there? Okay. Okay. Done.
So we go over to page 9. Did you put those, that purple or blue or whatever? that is?
Yeah, Laura did the
Deleted those
blue.
words, just deleted those 2 words. They're not designated,
Oh, yeah.
we're just trying to designate or delete those 2 words, aren't we, 3 words located on them.
That is not located on land.
We're just, yeah, we
Okay.
just repeated ourselves there.
I'm gonna spend-
Non-for-profit.
Well, the sentence was just weird to me. It said to meet the definition of human occupiable building, the structure must also be located on land that is not located on land designated by the county
We're just being
as
repetitive.
crop use for tax purposes. Plus, we're talking about tax purposes again.
Okay. I like that we've done it. Okay,
You wanna change something about tax purposes or leave it out or?
We can hit that later. Just move on.
so then not for profit organization means,
It's a weird sentence structure.
it means a nonprofit organization is a group organized for purposes other than generating profit.
You can't have means and then is a.
Yeah,
You're just gonna take not-for-profit organization is a group of organized.
Yeah, leave out means a nonprofit organization,
okay,
not for profit.
Or you could take out the means a group organized.
all right, so a not-for-profit organization is a
Everybody
group
say
organized for the purpose other than generating profit.
Yes.
So,
Okay,
page 11.
specifies measure from the tip of a blade as personal transportation using the tower.
The only problem with that is what happens if somebody buys 5 acres or whatever to make an acreage while they're in the process of all this?
Let's disclose to them that is on the realtor.
I mean, you don't necessarily know that your neighbor's gonna be putting a tower in your backyard. A lot of people found that out by surprise. And, I mean, maybe farmer or whatever, that is a landowner that is not getting a tower is been approached, somebody wants to put an acreage on there. Can I buy this many acres of yours? And now with this, all of a sudden, there's gonna be a human occupied building.
Well, at least
I don't know, that's what
the
I'm
zoning
asking.
administrator would have the information if something had been approved. The zoning administrator would have the information about all the landowners to contact as it's going. So at the time that the application is going through, all landowners would be notified at that time. If someone comes in to buy land and they come to, they buy the land and they come in to put in their,
Building permit.
for building a house, then
Then
at least the zoning administrator is aware of where those locations are and can go,
Wave the red flag.
you must be aware that this is within such a distance.
And it may bother them and it may not.
And if they've already bought the land,
that didn't happen to that lady that
I know,
was at the public meeting.
but if they've already bought the land, at least they haven't spent the money to build a house on it. It to be without compliance. So if you already have an acreage and you wanna build closer after they've sited a turbine, that's considered to be on the person that's building within those setbacks. However, if you set your setbacks to the property line, that shouldn't be a problem.
Well, that's,
Did you happen to catch that? Was that Ashley Murray?
Yes.
What?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, thank you.
Relation?
Very, very distant, but works at MSA or ASDS.
Getting back to page, top of 11 there, under setback.
So I don't know if it's generally measured from the center of the GPS of the tower or the outside of the base of the tower, if you want to measure it from the furthest horizontal tip. I'm not sure.
Well, we're just trying to establish where we start to measure from.
Measure from where the little light blinks.
You got any ideas on that, Steve?
I don't know, diameter of the,
Something to
Base.
look up in your other,
I don't know. I mean,
I wonder what they're using. They're using something, because they've said they're 1,600 feet instead of 15, or they're claiming they're already going above and beyond our present ordinance.
I don't know if it's from the center of the radius of the tower. I'd have to look in and see how they're defining it.
You wanna look into
I
that?
don't know.
the radius of the tower would be the tower.
I think it's the tower, but I don't know if it's like, if it's a 4-foot tower, if they're measuring from the dead center or from the outside shell. I mean, if it tips over, it's gonna tip over from the outside, but
see what you can find out on that.
And if you guys run across anything in your other ordinance reviews, make sure to grab that.
Okay. And on page 12,
Well. That's if we're gonna talk about WECS, we need to have a definition for that.
I added that just because
Yeah.
you had asked earlier. I mean, I can come up with something later, that's not something, definitions we can come back to. Be something along the lines of wind energy conversion system is a system that generates, I'll figure something out.
All right. So then down 15.
So I know we added that 911 section last time, I think we just need to check the wording. Do you wanna say they need to do it if a conditional use permit's been approved, or after a condition, if you're fine with it, if you wanna change it to after?
Oh,
Well, setbacks here, all measurements shall be from the edge of the tower.
edge of the tower? Oh, we got that,
It's under setbacks.
okay, page what?
Well,
12.
Did you have to put a WECS definition in there?
she put that in there in case we wanted to put that in.
Okay.
But she said she was gonna kind of look for that.
Really most definitions, we can come back to at the end.
Yeah. I mean, that was an easy one. You're just dividing what that means.
Right.
yeah, it's a tower that's what we've done,
Sorry, yeah.
put in the definition then.
All right.
So,
Laura,
Pull the definition for page 12 up to the definition section.
on the setback, where it's measured,
Tower,
edge of the tower.
Your setback.
Now back to 15.
so did you need me? We need to pull something from there? Where does it say edge of tower?
Edge of tower,
Where are you looking at that?
page 12,
Well,
number 1 setbacks, letter A.
okay.
Second sentence, all measurements shall be from the edge of
Oh,
the
okay.
tower.
Do you want that up there?
Or the nearest above ground non-fence structure at the substation site, nearest to the point you measured it.
Well, it's setback from the substation, is setback from the towers.
I think it'd be good to pull it up to the definition section, yes.
Okay. All right, so where was, that was,
A sentence 2.
okay. I see where I'm taking it. To,
Very observant of you, Wade.
there's the whole thing.
That was very observant of you.
Okay,
Now, back to signage on page 15. Individual 911 addresses.
Oh, for E, we had talked about that, I think after you left, I added the collection from their discussion, so that should be fine.
okay,
Just put it in there for you guys to see that it had changed since it wasn't in the yellow.
all right.
Under D isn't, all turbine sites shall be required to have individual 911 rural address signs at each road. Stop there.
Well, I think we added that part because, I mean, the current projects had not applied for 911 signs until, I don't know, last couple weeks.
So if something would have happened, it would have been
Yeah, something would happen, there would have been no location there for him to go to.
And we'd have to do the home map, we'd have to figure out what number, yeah. Or, you know, just say 260th between K and L or something. So, I mean, if they're at least applied for at the time that before they submit their building permit, that might give time to get them processed. If it's a lot of turbines, it might take a while. And this is all upon the, you know, if for some reason they keep the max of 100, they're able to build a new hill.
Last time, I thought we had for conservation areas, it was a 2 mile setback. We've only got one in here. Same with the conservation area.
The recreation and the conservation.
Yep. You have only 1 mile in here, and according to my notes, it was 2 miles.
Must have just missed it.
So I should change that to 2.
Y'all agree?
On both of those, or which one, Jody? Public
On
record
both of those,
Public-
public recreation, public conservation,
should be 2.
and also 2 miles on towns or residential communities. Which would be like Dinsdale.
The 2 miles is for the incorporated cities there on the bottom.
Yep. That's incorporated cities,
Oh.
but that's unincorporated. It'd be like Buckingham, Dinsdale.
That would be for the zoning districts. So Buckingham and Dinsdale would be considered residential districts because it's like, no longer the incorporated cities.
Cause you've only, well, that one you've got 2 miles from the boundary of oh, that's incorporated.
Yeah.
You want unincorporated.
Well, earlier we talked about all zoning districts would be fine except for residential, so if you change that second from the bottom to be residential district boundaries instead of zoning district boundaries, because then you don't have that line between
Right,
commercial and
right,
agriculture
right.
and that, so maybe change the wording on that
Okay.
second one up.
So then basically,
And then change the distance if you guys.
unincorporated residential communities.
I would maybe stick to residential district,
Just
because that was
residential districts. Okay,
district zoned as residential. Cause I don't think I have any other definition of their boundary besides what the district boundary is. And then there are other places that are considered residential districts in the town besides just former cities.
So you're gonna call it residential district boundaries? Is that what we're thinking?
I think it's fine.
So then we move it up to between the P and the S, or do we leave it alone?
I can re-alphabetize.
what are we gonna consider a residential district? But there's some areas like north of Traer that are. There's like 6 or 8 houses on a road. There's
Bring it to the map.
there's all kinds of strange situations. And up here, northwest of Toledo, up there in the ridge, there's homes that are,
This is a little outdated and I have found some discrepancies, but this is what we're currently going off the first zoning map. So, single family residential, multifamily residential, residential lake districts would also be included. But here they're just all single family residential. So all these blue and any yellow, which I don't know that, okay, so there's a little bit up here in the middle of, there's a whole bunch of grain bins up there if you drive by that. So
that's
there's a
Dinsdale.
little residential in the middle, there's a little residential here with the multifamily. We've got Hickory Hollow up here, I believe that's Union Grove Lake. Not sure what that is.
Oh, that's, what's their faces area,
And then this was a subdivision that was created that never got developed.
cause this is Garwin, that's those homes that are in the hills there.
So those would be anything that was one of the blue or yellow. And then we also have a lake residential district, which has become, I think, those two. Those would be your residential districts that would be discounted. So it's not just Dinsdale, it's not just Buckingham, it'd be any residential district zone. And any future
Well,
ones.
that's the case in the new Vienna's out of ordinance, but they're already there.
Well, we don't have that with the zoning.
No, that's what I mean, they were there before this ordinance went into effect.
Right, but it would be like if somebody tried to go over here, or somebody
yeah.
tried to do this area.
Or
that-
somewhere around Couture or whatever.
This year is,
Incorporate.
very still. Small as it is, it's still incorporated. Let me show the guys the map, okay?
So are we leaving it alone on zoning district boundaries or are we changing?
So here's our current.
I just put residential district boundaries.
All right.
Figure
The
that out.
residential district boundaries are the yellow and the blue, so we got a little yellow there, a little yellow there. The blue's easier to see. The blue. Yellow's a little hard.
Did you have to add
So I
that?
think.
What? It's not in
this
here,
one,
is it?
it's what, like
Well,
houses.
yeah, No, we didn't say anything about that. I just changed this to residential
I'm
district
still
boundary.
finding random things that have not been updated, but at least this way, the industrial
Then-
ones, you're not.
Which one did you
say not
change?
Against the
This one.
residential, you're not bumping up against.
Turn
Zoning,
page.
that's zoning district.
Yeah.
boundaries.
She said to change it to residential district boundaries.
Yeah, but that's only
So
when
you're
I
not
have
having
times
that
to go to
2
heights.
miles.
We haven't done anything yet. We haven't done
Oh, we
anything.
haven't gotten that far.
No, we just changed that.
Doesn't matter.
So this is what we're changing.
Residential has that boundary, same as appropriated cities.
Now you can, now that we've.
That would be what the wording, so you don't have to define what the, I mean, yes, you guys define what the zoning districts are, but you don't have to define that separate for this ordinance. That help? Oh, we might also want to specify that residential district includes the Meskwaki Nation. I don't know if you want a different setback or same setback as the residential, but there are a lot of residents living in that area.
But they're under their own control, where they don't obey by our ordinances
We
anyway.
can't do anything
Yeah,
about
we
that.
can't, but,
You don't have to worry about them.
No.
If they wanna put up towers, there's nothing we can do about it.
Right, but if the city wants to do something, we still have to, I mean, they can't do anything in that 2 miles outside of the city limit, right?
Yeah, but that's already here, incorporated cities.
Right, so I just didn't know if you wanted to include the Meskwaki Nation with setbacks, or they're just considered a different.
leave it alone.
They pretty much do their own
They
thing.
got their
Yeah,
own
exactly.
laws.
There's nothing we can do.
They just build out.
Makes it,
Yeah.
You know.
Sac and Fox Trust.
If they're in the settlement, there's nothing we can do about it.
I think it's either referring to, we're 2 miles away from the.
Yep. That's, that part of it we can do, but I mean, as far as putting anything about Meskwaki in the ordinance,
Gotta be edited, that'd be a residential district, because it's in there, but we still would
yep.
want to include these people.
You want any setback from county boundary lines, so that it would be polite to our neighbors, or no? Like, I don't care.
That's pretty thin ice.
Beyond our jurisdiction, isn't it?
We need to do something on, instead of greater than 1.5 times, we need to change that to 2 miles, right?
If there was a residential district or something.
I'm sorry, what?
Instead of that zoning district boundaries, 1.5 times the height, we need to change that to 2 miles.
That would be something for you to discuss.
Did we do that? We didn't do that.
Defining the distance under residential district boundaries?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's now residential district boundaries, so we need to put, what, 2 miles in there? For protecting people in town, I suppose we should do the same thing with those out of town.
Or wait for you? We'll change to 2 miles.
yep, I can do it. Right. Two. Right, done,
Now back to 911, right?
yes,
Page 15.
yes.
What if you just said prior to any construction? Of course, they gotta have something there to put it by, don't you?
Put it on stick out.
Field where they're gonna put a driveway.
It's gonna be. As long as they apply for it.
Do we need to change that?
That's what we're.
That's what they're talking about.
Debating
Is that-
here. Yeah,
That permit holder thing?
as long as they
Yeah.
apply
Put
for
a
it,
steel post out in the middle of it, I mean, as long, you know,
as long as they've applied for
as
it,
long as they've applied for it, that's the thing we're trying to
define here.
force, you know, push them to to apply for it. So what's wrong with how it's written?
Maybe nothing.
So am I changing that?
Where you at?
Building permit to zoning certificate?
I think so.
So all turbine types will be required to have individual 911.
There's signs at each access road.
And individual signs shall be requested from Tama County Department prior to submitting a zoning certificate if a conditional use
Zoning certificate application.
application. If a conditional use permit has been approved.
You wanna say if or after a conditional use permit?
Oh,
Do you care?
suppose we should.
Say
I'm
after,
glad you don't have to use a pencil
I
eraser.
know.
say after.
White out?
White out.
Okay, so
After.
individual 911 addresses and signs shall be requested from Tama County 911 Communications Department prior to submitting, this is prior to submitting a zoning certificate application. If or after a conditional use permit has been approved.
We're gonna have both.
No, I'm just trying them
We're
out.
reading it through.
Just trying them out.
What page are you on? What did I do?
This is 15.
15,
You're back.
under D for signage.
We're right here.
Oh, down here.
Yeah,
You haven't done anything with the wind turbines, are you gonna go black and white? With the blades? Did you read that article?
It's still experimental. I did read the article, yes.
Are we gonna go two whites and one black for birds?
I don't think they had a full blade. It was like a partial on them. I think it was just enough to
I
break
feel like I
that.
saw a blade out in phase one that was black, couple that,
I tell you what, some days I look at that and some look darker.
I just don't know if like one rolled through the
Thank
dirt.
Some of them said the shadow in the sun or not.
I don't know. It's so tall, I don't know.
What's the rationale for a black blade?
Apparently it breaks up the viewscape of the birds so that they notice it more as opposed to when
So-
they're all white, it's just kind of.
So the
Blends in.
article was in Norway, all their turbine blades have to have, like, one of their blades at least has to be half black, and they've had 70% less. Bird deaths.
Birds and bats, well,
Birds and
bats are more sound, but.
But it is a very new study and not much extra.
Right.
I mean, maybe there'll be more by the time we're done reviewing.
Yeah,
Signage.
he's gonna make me say
We're
if or
gonna
after,
be if or after.
or does it matter?
I don't know if it matters.
I don't think it matters.
Okay, we'll leave it. I'm gonna get that out of there.
Alright,
Then feeder lines, what do we need to,
I added the collection part, you guys had added the buried no less than 40 inches. And I said, you need to clarify if a higher capacity is not permitted in the county. You said equal or less too, so I don't know if the bigger ones are all above ground or what.
I don't,
Yeah, I'd hate to have, he said they're gonna have to just push the voltage up and on a power line and have power lines crisscrossing all over the place. Cause it's a little easier, they go up to 161 or we wouldn't have to go that high.
Or if you want the higher capacities to be buried deeper than 40, I don't know enough about that part of it to.
Well, that's it, above 34, 5, I don't know, but still that can have the.
what if you just say all collection feeder communication lines shall be buried no less than 40 inches from the surface?
That, I like that.
Don't,
I didn't know if that was in there to have a cap on it, but if we're having a cap, then we need to say like, we did the solar where nothing over something is permitted, so yeah, if you just think it all.
just all lines.
So all lines, okay.
Sounds clear.
If you noticed in the decon plan for Salt Creek 2, they were only going to move things that are 48 inches or higher, 48 inches down and above. That would mean right now, it's what, 40 inches or whatever for the cables? We have to be aware of that.
So just like, you know.
Because right now with their decommissioning, they are not taking out the tower bases in their decommission plan.
or
So
Can you just make a note to review that
for you guys to be commissioned later.
Yeah, when we get further, but I'm just
Okay,
saying what they're saying is 40 inches and
right.
we're already going 48 inch, get things buried below 48.
So we're gonna leave the flex, all flex and feed on communication lines.
Shall be buried no less than 48.
Yeah, so everything, right, we're taking out the voltage there.
Yeah.
Right, take out the voltage, Would it turn over to 16?
Yes.
16,
Laura says, need to define, no further action.
I think I brought that up last week too, but I don't
Still-
remember how.
Oh, still need to check with Worth County. Did you check with Worth County?
I have not had time this week.
That's okay.
I'm so sorry.
No,
So we can just leave that for later. I do have a note
okay,
to ask them some other things as well, so.
okay.
So
So let's
unless you
come back
guys
to
wanted to
that.
find, I was gonna check with them and see what, if they had any additional information. I might check with attorneys,
Okay,
so just skip that one for now and then I go to there.
okay.
What
So,
were you questioning at Ford County?
Page 16, it says. Where differences in permit requirements may conflict, the conflict shall. Be brought to the attention of the zoning administrator and no further actions taken with regard to conflicting activities and guidance. Until the zoning administrator has agreed that the conflict has been resolved. I was just hoping for some more clarity on the no further actions. Since we had all the ambiguity with the, what defines construction. Earlier this year. I was just hoping to clear it up. Cause that's very widespread and vague.
You know, you're gonna look into that?
Yep, I will look into that. You can skip that note for now. I just didn't wanna take it out.
That was about what we, no, we still got more.
no, there's down on
18.
fire suppression. Do we need to specify what qualifies as independent third party?
Like one that we pick, one that they pick, one we both agree on. If you don't wanna do this one tonight, you can skip it and come back.
I don't think we better skip anything, we better get it nailed out.
well,
Such person should be tested and verified out there.
independent third party of the county's choosing,
Yeah,
or the building administrators choosing.
I wouldn't say my choosing. I wouldn't know what I was looking for in a third party.
Well, I don't either, that's why.
We could say of the county's choosing approved by the board of supervisors. Just be able to
Yeah.
have the resources to
Choosing
decide who to go to for that.
Upper counties,
supervisors.
Yeah. Okay. Or even, just say approved by the county board of supervisors.
Could you, is it,
Yeah, if they pick it versus us pick it versus both agree versus whatever else.
the county picks it?
Yeah.
Don't you think, I mean, that's
or
why I
supervisor,
do it, or
yeah.
too bad you can't get the police chief of Tama or Lato or something with it.
Actually, they could use it as a reference.
Right.
I don't say it's the supervisors, I don't say that we would in fire.
So then right below that under waivers, you have a question that says I need to add info about waiver requests or fees. Oh, we talked about this a little bit.
I brought it up earlier.
Yeah.
This is where that's at then.
Yeah,
If you wanna consider waiver request to be along the same lines as variance and truck fees, just cause we just went through that with the other thing. It's just nowhere else in our other zoning ordinance. So we would need to define that here if you wanna charge for it, if we need to have the mailing public notice like we do with cups and variances, or if you just need newspaper and online public notice like we do at meetings. That'd be up to you. I don't know what the waivers, if you'd wanna have that mailing public notice. We will be getting the fee to cover the postage.
What do other people charge for waiver, do you have any idea?
I don't recall seeing waivers when I was checking other pricing for permits.
It's gonna take some time and effort on your part to do that.
Right.
And to record it.
Which would be the same time and effort as any other variant. So I feel like the cost that you guys have just increased for the other variants and cup, I think that would be sufficient for my time, our postage, newspaper notice. I mean-
$50.
Like we charge 200 for.
$100.
Are you the one that okays the waivers?
No, that'd be Board of Adjustment, it's in there. I thought it was in there. Is it not?
No,
So wait.
the approved waiver to the extent defined below, it doesn't say anything about who's approving it.
I swear I thought it said that.
D. And the waiver may be.
D, it's under D.
Oh, clear down further?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm like, I swear I saw that.
Yeah, there's
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there.
Yeah, I'm gonna work on the numbering, cause this is very confusing with multiple of the same numbers.
Well,
So what do we need to do with the waivers under A?
a lot of these numbers aren't what is part of the setbacks. Because the setbacks are a whole different numbers than what are under the waiver thing.
That's why you want a waiver,
Waiver to get it to
the
the.
waiver to get it to this. You're
Yeah.
getting it waived off of what we require.
Right, I mean, but this, you can't go below this, this is still a minimum that the waiver would allow.
And that would be like the noise waivers that you guys talked about.
Okay, like a human occupiable building, you've got a 2,000 foot setback, but you're gonna allow them on a 600 foot tower, 750 feet.
That's right.
Right,
If they want to sign it, if they want to do a waiver, if they own and they want to build right there, it's up to them.
Okay.
And the waivers of
They have to pay
easement that's
for it,
on file with
and-
the recorder that follows.
They wanna
Okay, got it.
live that close to one, that's
I
their
mean,
preference.
that's, you know.
I mean, that's-
If you own it and it's, you want to live right next to it or for some reason,
That's who's gonna be applying for the waivers, is the people,
yeah,
the landowner.
right,
Yeah,
would have to be there. And that's where,
confinement operations, I'll bet that would be a big one, would be.
it has to meet the terms specified in.
So Carol, I don't know if you wanna make it part of F or make it make it G on its own, or if you wanna do like an F with a indent number 1 or something. That could be where a fee would fit best.
Okay, hang on a minute.
And then also just to direct the zoning administrator to follow regular Board of Adjustment notification, including mailers out to everyone within, do you wanna stick with 1,000 feet? Do you wanna go longer? Cause as we're doing this, I mean,
Do you need, can't you just do it online? Can't you just, we do our meetings and everything else? Couldn't you just publish it? I mean,
well, right now with cup requirements and variance requirements, I don't know that appeals required. I'll have to double check our ordinance. I haven't dealt with that as much. But when somebody requests a cup application hearing or variance hearing, our ordinance states that everyone within 1,000 feet of that location is required to be mailed notice of it specifically, just so they can't miss the newspaper, they can't miss the line. So that'd be like if somebody's doing, you know, a cup on a home occupation, not sure, but a home occupation, you email, or you mail everybody within 1,000 feet that this public notice is happening at this parcel, for this purpose, so that they are aware, specifically notified of this hearing, so that they can come. If it's just for a meeting notice, like for you guys tonight, or for, you know, other non-cup, non-variance hearings for BOA, that's just published in the newspaper and published online and not mailed out to everybody. So the thing with the cup of the variance is that specifically affects the residents that are closest to them, and they have to, I mean, they have to live with that then if it gets approved. So they need to get that notification to come voice their opinion. I would say waivers would be along the same lines as that. Cause if you have somebody, your neighbor, this neighbor in the middle is getting a waiver, the neighbor on the other side then will be that much closer than they originally thought.
Well, he still has to, yeah, I would think that we've said
So,
that to be required.
with normal cup and variances, the mailing distance is 1,000 feet for notification. I don't know with turbines, since they're getting so big, if you wanna increase the notification distance, or if you wanna make it to, you know, for the cup, if it's everyone within their set boundary, cause some people in the boundary are outside of that 1,000 feet. I mean, they were talking setback distance of 1,500 feet, you know, for their widest radius. And I mean, there were some people that were outside that still that would not have been notified then. You know, if you're 1,600 feet out for your parcel, you wouldn't get notified otherwise. So if you wanna do it within a boundary, if you wanna do waivers within a certain number of feet.
Setbacks of 2 miles, so I'd say it's within 2 miles.
But I would include that wording somewhere in here. Waivers shall follow the, Board of Adjustment standard notification process of mailing to individuals within X number of distance, in addition to newspaper publication and online notification.
We're,
You just said it, can you remember that?
Yeah.
Right, John?
I don't know, catch that.
Carol, you were with her, yeah?
something
I
along.
kind of jumped out for a minute.
People living within the boundaries of the permitted area.
Well, I don't know if everyone in a permitted area would need to be notified for a waiver.
How big?
That would be more like,
Very soon here,
you know, like if
huh?
Joe-
2 hours.
Joe neighbor wants to get,
So in other words, everybody that's living within the whatever footprint of the waiver request.
maybe, I would say give a distance around the
I own.
Oh, then you go
The
back to
waiver
your
parcel,
2000.
the waiver property.
Yeah.
I know the initial cut, you'd want everyone in the entire project to be notified, but if it was an individual waiver for noise at a specific spot, I would say we wouldn't have to mail out the entire project.
2,000 feet like it does for a setback or what?
That'd be something you'd wanna decide if you were living in that area and you were 2,000 feet, would that be?
Adequate.
But that's
if-
okay.
If you were living 2,500 feet from someone and you didn't get notified, would you be mad that this other neighbor took a noise waiver? Or whatever other waiver?
Why don't we stop here and move on, we're 10 to 8 already.
Yeah.
And almost 2 hours.
Having fun.
Should we start here on number 4, page 18, next meeting? Does that work for everybody?
Start on waivers?
Yeah, start here on,
If I have time, I'm gonna try to renumber this to be more in line with how we numbered the solar, so that we've got
Yeah, I like that.
sections and then the bullet points after, so if we're going on pages, we don't go like, oh, this number one or this number one, this D or this D. So I will try to work on that as long as you don't have a meeting super fast, but, I forgot to check with Karen what her availability is, so I can't guarantee a date right now.
here,
Yeah, but,
we come up with a date and then check with her.
yeah, we'll come up with a date and then check with her before we say it, so. We could do 2 weeks with public notice, which would put us at, where are we at?
Would be the,
October 1st,
Today's the 17th, 1, 2, could be October 1st, yes.
what's that look like for anybody?
Need to call him?
It's gonna rain, just like it did that, it's gonna rain for us. Are you available?
I got nothing on that.
I'm available, I know. Do you wanna check? Wait,
This would be October 1.
yeah,
Yeah, that'll work for me.
it does.
I'm good.
You're good? All right, we'll wait on Wade and see. October 1st works.
I won't go ask Karen until I know that all you guys can do it, because I feel bad.
Thinking.
Are you guys, the agenda that I printed, are you guys okay with that big number of topics?
What's it look like on the calendar?
You okay with the agenda topics, just kind of leave it the same, and we'll start here and citing and designing and move on if you guys move that fast.
As long as we can start here and keep it going.
Okay, yeah, thank you, dear. Right.
You good?
You good?
All right, I'll be right
You
back.
have to open, you got to do your public comments?
Um,
Comment.
Yeah. I'll wait till Laura gets back.
Yep.
You wanna wait till Laura gets back or does it matter?
You guys can answer. The waivers, those are requested by the individual landowners, not the wind energy company.
The wind company would do it, but they
Karen
have,
is
they
also
have,
available, so should we
all-
do our?
they have to have signed agreements from the landowner,
So,
so the adjacent landowner. Like,
in what case would somebody request for a waiver to the setbacks?
so, like, if the wind, they want to have their turbine closer to somebody. So they go to that person and offer them so much money or something, or, you know, to get them to sign an agreement to have it closer.
Do we already have participating landowners though, not included in the setbacks? Cause I think anyone that they would ask a waiver for would already have an easement, wouldn't they?
Right, I think this should be for
Not
I
participating.
don't know why anyone who wasn't participating get a good neighbor would,
You never know.
you never know.
Yeah.
Maybe they would have their.
Somebody else.
Okay, so Wednesday, October 1st at 6 P.M. I will get that sent to the newspaper.
Any other public comments or questions at this time?
I gotta digest this.
Pardon?
I have to digest this.
I hear you.
When we get the renumbering and double check the changes that happened tonight, I will try to post that online under public notice.
Okay.
So if you get the notifications, that should pop up. Otherwise, you can always
Sign up for those, right?
check what,
You have to sign up for this public notifications.
it gets emailed too, but I mean, I don't think they saw that info, so. You can do it just for zoning. So you don't have to do it for all the meetings, you do it just for zoning, you can do it just for BOA or.
So the most updated copies of the on.
I don't know if I'll do it every single week, but I haven't posted this at all anywhere, so people who come are, have only gotten it, so. We might not do it every week after we have an update, but at least we'll get what we're dealing with out there. So as we go through it, if people have, I think changes, I think changes, they at least have something to base off of as opposed to. Just having the topics coming in and not seeing what the wording actually is, so. You guys okay with all, everybody else okay with all the topics that are listed? I'll keep kind of the same agenda so you can move on if you need to, but.
Allow us flexibility, that's all I'm asking.
Yeah, for the public notice, I might make it a little more general, just so I cut down on words, but the agenda will be basically the same. As long as the public notice matches enough that it is through the whole.
Are there any specific things that you need to have on there prior to that?
It just needs to match so that people know what the topics are.
Yes.
Big power company, was gonna put those, H widen out their variance for their farmers, for they run that through here about a year ago. They had that at the grinding center. Was that like towards food care, and they weren't gonna do that and unless they got the windmills or what?
ITC, yes, they have asked for their floodplain permit. We don't give building permits for that type of project. It's all regulated through the state. But it does sound like they are moving forward with it, as soon as they get their final federal or state
So
permitting.
that is for going through.
Signing high transmission.
Yeah,
lines.
and it's following the same line area that the existing one is. They're calling it a new line, so I'm not entirely sure if they're taking out the old one and replacing, or if it's like a double line. The map was not that specific, but it runs.
You guys are north of Tama, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cutting across from Marshall over to,
Is that the one that goes all the way to Lynn County?
I think it goes, I think it comes here-ish. Where did the grass, this is Toledo. Is that that might be the yard, the substation is like right here, I think. So I think it comes here, and then when it gets to this township, it starts to angle, cause it goes like, can't remember if it goes south of Elbron or between Elbron and Vining. South of Vining, it angles down sharply about halfway through the county.
So look back into the Wayne Harbor, man.
I heard Fairfield, I don't know exactly, that's outside of our county, it's not like there's some.
I think it's projected for all the way to Lynn County.
That's it, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Patrick.
Patrick Cornwell again. We mentioned we went to page 37, earlier tonight. And, under optical upgrades, we've installed CWECS. Number B, or letter B. Any upgrades to install non-conforming CWECS that require more than a software upgrade shall be considered a new project and be subject to new CWECS permit and shall follow all aspects of this ordinance. There was a lawsuit recently in Story County where that was determined to be maintenance, not a
Okay.
new project. Because what the company was trying to do was restart their 7-year, climbing, whatever it is, the,
Tax.
Tax, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and they the company lost, the county assessor won, and the judge, I did bring the article with printed off by Iowa State, or I printed it off from Iowa State. There's that to think about.
If you come again, bring that article, would you, or we'll
I'll
find it.
forward it to Laura.
That'd be great.
Laura's probably sick of me by this point.
No, it's fine. So that was for repowering or that was just for,
They did the
software?
same thing that they did in Vienna Township
Mhm.
and over there. And the company wanted to say, well, we need to restart that valuation back over at zero, at least for the part, which was the head of the,
And the
That's what they
assessor,
get around paying taxes.
right.
assessor said
And
no,
then the judge,
50%.
right?
the court said that is a,
So it does
that's
that.
maintenance. It was already existed, they just replaced it with a newer one.
Okay. I know there have been other counties that have done a repowering ordinance as far as like when they have the longer blades and the taller towers. So that's like if you add on to your house, I think we could have wording that includes that if it's just a software mechanical upgrade. That's not a difference in the height and such. That would be more of a gray area, I guess, like what we're talking
I
about.
mean, I know they added like 10 feet. Added like 10 feet, and a new head, and I didn't know how much longer blades, but
Yeah, go ahead and send me that article and I'll forward it on to them. I do still think we need to work on a repowering ordinance just because, if Vienna had needed that variance for the right of way or the ground clearance, there would have been nothing that any of the neighbors could have said about that extra however many feet they increased, which is not approved with the cup. So, I don't know if you want to add a whole other cup process or if they just need to have a waiver review or, I mean, you can name it whatever you want for repowering in our own ordinance, so.
Did you have another comment, Patrick?
yeah, the only other comment I had was, about the 911 size, is it possible to make that part of the currently there's 16 submittal forms for the, conditional use permit. They are, in addition to the application that they have to submit, is it just, can you make that one of those 16, well, 17?
I would say that would be an unnecessary burden on the county if they were required to have that submission before they were approved for a project. Because currently we don't charge for that. That is something that we get, grants, I guess, from the state based on our cell phone traffic in the county. So with this project up here, I've been told that they basically blew their budget for the entire year for 911 addresses and our fiscal year goes till next year. So, we're not allowed to charge for those and if they don't end up getting approved, I think that would be an unnecessary hardship on both the applicant and the county if we required that to be submitted before they went through the approval process. So I was thinking, when I brought it up to them, that would just be something that would be required before the building permit is allowed. Our current application says your new 911 address and everywhere else, if you're building a home, you're required to have that before you build your home. So getting the CUP approval, I think would be, acceptable without having that 911 as that part, but at least as long as we're calling it out, you will need it before you can get your building permit. I mean, as somebody who's been processing these and reading other counties, I don't feel that it would be necessary on our part to have that before and necessary on their part. And it may be a waste of resources on our part if they apply for it, get all their stuff, we spend the time and then it's for some reason get denied.
And last comment, I promise. When they apply for the zoning certificate, the cup comes at the same time, right?
No, they need it, the CUP comes first. They can't apply for a zoning certificate until they have a CUP to prove it there. So you get approved for your CUP and then the building permit has to match those specifications. So if they approved in this case, a turbine that was 550 feet tall with rotor diameter of X number of distance, and your building permit matches that height and rotor diameter, and it has all, the engineer certificate for structurally soundness, if everything on the building permit matches what was approved on the application, then, I mean, it should go through really easily. The problem would be is if we don't require specifications on the cup, and it's very vague with a range and everything, then it makes it harder to approve the building permit.
I was under the impression that it was, those two applications came in at the same time.
Yeah.
As long as they met the requirements for the cup.
That hasn't been my experience in first watching it as a citizen and then. I mean, I wasn't in the position when they got their permits last time, but looking through the paperwork, the cup for Salt Creek One was applied for in 2020. And their first request for building permit zoning certificate application was in 2022. They used the same application form. There's a spot that says request for special use or conditional use. So they do fill out a lot of the same stuff. And if you're building a house and you need a cup, you might not know you need a cup, so you're filling out your zoning certificate application with like it's a building permit. And then I would say, no, this has a thing, we need to send it to the BOA. So in that case, that's a little closer. When it's a project this big, especially with the development involved, I believe that there would be like at least a full year between when they apply for the cup and when they apply for anything.
Thank you.
Any other comments? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Ben moved second to adjourn. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.